Afternoon, everyone, and I'm so glad that Tamanna went before me because she actually covered a lot of at least what technology today could do. Just I think people said Netcore Cloud. We are a Matic SaaS platform which actually covers everything from search, contextual search to channels to powering customer engagement and using insights. But today I'm not here to talk about that. Actually, what I'm here to talk about is what we think is the future of marketing and MarTech, as we are calling it, agentic marketing. By the way, it's not just us, it's something that Forrester and Gartner, after a lot of research, believe that they're going to rename all their omni-channel playbooks and say that the next wave of marketing is going to be agentic. And what we believe it does is it helps solve some of the currently impossible problems of marketing, or what has been there as impossible for decades. To start with a quick clue, does anybody know what this represents? 3 minutes 59.4 seconds. Anyone? There are some visual cues, of course, but does anyone have, whether you want to take a guess what this represents? Sorry? Close, but track and field runner of many different kinds, but 3:59.4 was in 1954. Roger Bannister, or Sir Roger Bannister as he was called later, was the first man to break the 4-minute mile run. Decades of running before that, but nobody had broken the 4-minute time for a mile, right? And it was considered not just something that it was just impossible, it was just considered physically impossible to do. So much so that there was a lot of research that a lot of people in the medical field did to say what really happens, why should people not try to break this barrier, because your heart rate actually goes up quite dramatically high, your lactic acid, there's a whole bunch of science and theory around 4 minutes you cannot actually run a mile. But he did it in May of 1954. There were 10 other runners who did it by October of 1954, and in the next 6 years, there were 300 athletes who actually crossed the 4-minute mile barrier. So it is considered, what was once considered an physically impossible problem to solve, and one person did it, and then subsequently, the world never looked back. Incidentally, the current record is 16 seconds faster than this. So we are in a similar situation here, where customer behavior has changed quite dramatically, and it's changing much faster than organizations can respond. This has been true forever. I think it's true even faster right now. Today, if you think about the marketing funnel, usually you're bombarding a lot of this with Google and Meta ads, and you have a very wide catchment. You then have low relevance in terms of the communication, and therefore conversion is actually a trickle. But where it really is headed to today, because of what people said since morning, a lot of your search itself has become far more sharper. People are not actually Googling anything they want, they're being much more specific about what it is. So much smaller catchment areas is where your funnel starts. Goes to a much higher relevance, therefore you need to communicate with much higher relevance, and therefore drive much higher conversions, right? This is where we are actually headed towards in terms of marketing. But a lot of things today as marketers, we are sure that you are actually grappling with. Some of this is nothing new. This is all something that people, at least when I speak to a lot of marketers, they actually tell me, number one, can we move away from the vicious attribution loop that we actually are in the world of digital? And whether the email got us the lead, whether the Google ad got us the lead, whether the web got us the lead, there's a lot of time being spent on attribution. Second, can we really create actionable micro segments and personalization? Great thought, great theory, n=1 has been spoken about for the last 5 years, but who's going to create the content for it, right? How can we do this without overwhelming the teams that we have today, or the content creation teams that we have as an extended arm with respect to agencies? Finally, cross-sell, upsell. Banks talk about this a lot. Cross-sell, upsell ratios are still very poor today. Why? Because the space is very limited. Which product to sell, when to talk about it, how do you actually make it relevant, continues to be a big challenge. So these are what, at least today, we consider are impossible problems of marketing, right? For example, in e-commerce, conversion rates, repeat rates, CRM revenue, these are the 3 biggest metrics that matter. But most people hover around a 2 to 4% a 25% repeat, and a CRM revenue of 10-12%, at least a lot of marketing brands that we work with. What if this could actually pivot and actually move towards 60% repeat purchases and 40 to 45% CRM revenue? This is what turns around profitability for e-commerce players, at least as we believe it in any of the marketing things. So what are the current barriers? Lots of dashboards, but no real action. So you are actually, and MarTech platforms are known for dashboards, but not really great actions. Limited bandwidth for content and limited space, too many things to actually talk about. What is new growth needed for BFSI? In BFSI, lead drop-off rates continue to remain astonishingly high. Activation rates, cross-sell rates, sub 20%, right? And this is the same, and these are the problems. And I think over the last 5 years, a lot of investment has gone into digital and analytics, and I think we're still seeing a little bit of the plateau. And a large part of the reason is because we're just still not able to pull in data from all the other sources and actually use it to drive intelligence and actions. Same way, if you move to slightly other sectors like auto, real estate, which are much more omni-channel, much more higher involvement, longer decision cycles. They are multi-touch, but not multi-aware. If you walk into a real estate, site today, you will be asked the same set of questions which probably you actually researched online. The same is true for automotive, right? And it has not changed while there have been a lot of efforts that actually have been made, primarily because the funnels are still siloed, lead qualification criteria are different, and context is actually missing when somebody actually walks in and it's not real time. And therefore, while a lot of things have changed, still digital revenue contribution continues to remain at sub 5% levels. What we believe really Agentic unlocks are two things. I mean, there's a lot written out here, but two things, scale and relevance. I think these are the two fundamental things that we are seeing already being impacted using Agentic AI. Individual agents, a lot of you must already be using. People use things to do segmentation. People use agents to actually drive some content creation and insights. Question is, can you actually have a collective of these agents come together to drive a particular marketing objective? And that's where at least we believe the world of agentic marketing is headed. So with one prompt, can we actually create many more micro segments? Can we create much larger set of creatives while being personalized across channels and real time with an inbuilt trust layers, right? This is the impossible problem, or this is our 4-minute mile equivalent at this point in time. So what has already started to happen is, across say e-commerce, proactive journeys are already, starting to, I think a lot of you are also contributors to this. People view 3 different shades of foundation, but the recommendation can actually be exactly of what they've actually seen, right? Beige color, very specific to that individual. So any recommendations across your WhatsApp or RCS channels should also be reflecting what they've actually done online. But that last mile bridge is very tough to actually crack, is being cracked today. I will talk about Crocs, and in a particular example in a video that I'm going to show you, which was actually done. And micro segmentation is something where people are getting to. If you take BFSI, a customer in Pune is ignoring your renewal calls time and again. But what the people interpret this as saying apathy, they really don't want renewal. What data is actually missing is the call center conversation that actually happened maybe 3 months ago, happened in a different language. But are the prompts to that consumer actually done in those languages? Not really. So your other channels are not really privy to what has actually happened in the call center and the conversation and the kind of tonality that was there. But can this actually be done today? Absolutely yes. This is what at least AI and agentic AI is allowing brands to do today. Not everybody has done it, but a few people are actually seeing early messages. And the same thing reflected in what could be an RCS message in a vernacular medium, right, with building a badge of trust. I think these are small things which actually make the messaging so much more relevant to an individual. And that is basically the opportunity that we all have to get to. Similarly, if you take cross-sell, upsell, FDs are maturing in 30 days. Assumed friction is none. Real friction is that, it means different things for different people. So can you actually continue the journey of that individual to something else? And can it be done across the board? So what is really changing? So a lot of people spoke about the why, or what is the problem. Here is where we think are the solution areas. Number one, multi-agent workflows. I think for us, we are seeing this as the reality, and I'll actually show you an example of that. Two very different pricing models out there, right? Can you really tie it to outcomes versus think about attribution? And third is basically creating a sort of a value delivery hub where you get expertise and both around solution architecture and around what campaigns matter, and in a very business-like way. And that's basically the three pillars of focus that we believe marketers should have, and what we are trying to mimic as a MarTech platform as well. So if you could, this is something that we actually co-created along when we worked with Google Cloud. So we are Google Cloud's Partner of the Year. Audience insights allow us, and real-time audience insights allow us to create 100x predictive segments. If you use that for creative generation, now there are a lot of content creation tools out there. VO3 is one of the engines, but there are others, and if you actually have a confluence of them, ability to drive automated briefs, ability to drive basic adapts and at least statics, great, that world has already moved. A lot of the banking and e-commerce players are already using it. I'm sure some of you are as well. But content creation, auto-generating multiple X content pieces at scale, already a reality. Using that to drive things across your paid channels, so using those same audiences across what you're doing in paid channels on Google and Meta to all your own channels. And this is where the game is really changing. How well are you using your owned channels? Are you paying, according to us, analysis that we did, 70% of the marketing spends that you're doing are used to acquire the same customer that you had potentially acquired, probably acquired some time ago, but they got lost out, went back into the field, stopped engaging with you, and you're actually using that dollars to actually acquire the same customer again at a very high price. But can you use own channels like web, app, email, WhatsApp, etc. to really drive that part of it? And finally, the feedback loop, which completes this entire new operating model. So here's what we actually did along. We worked closely, and full credit to Pulkit and Nitin from the Crocs team to actually do this. So Crocs runs this buy one get one offer free, the BOGO scheme every quarter, right? And it drives a large part of value for them. Question is, how much of this, did they actually use in the next? And so they wanted to do it for this last quarter in a very, very different way. They had tighter budgets, and therefore they wanted to see, with tighter budgets, if we were to allow agents to actually take these actions, what could these actions look like? So they started with a prompt by saying, what could be insights from your previous campaigns? And you'll actually see it live on the video now. So before that, just a preamble. Starting with insights engine, what insights came out of the last 20 campaigns that you did, or the last 20 BOGO sales that you did? Two, therefore, which segment opportunities did you miss? And what if the agent were to design a campaign for you, what would that campaign look like? What would be the segments? What would be the messaging? What would be the content that gets created? And finally, what is the right time and optimized way to send it out? So this entire thing, what people would take, maybe an 8-10 member team would take a week to put together, can be done in minutes. And that's basically what we actually will show you. Can you play the video now? So this is Co-Marketer, which is the central orchestrator of all the agents together. It looks at the historic data. And of course, dashboards are available, but what is the actionability, right? So past BOGO sales uncovered 3 insights. Number one, large untapped segment, 27% of your customers. Men's category, and the fact that people are buying in bundles, particularly kids for their kids, is a big part of the untapped segment that you do. It asks the marketer, shall I build this into a multi-layer campaign? And the marketer, all of you, will say, yes, go ahead and make the strategy. And so here's what happens. So the platform actually is plugged into attribution, loyalty, CRM, ad tech, product catalog, and analytics. So the segment agent is using data from all of this real time to actually come up with which are the segments. So they uncovered about more than 20 segments, high value fashion enthusiasts, style switchers. It's actually enabled them saying, what is people who have clicked the Meta and a Google ad in the last 10 days, but not added to cart. So there are a bunch of segmentation that it comes up with and says, if you approve, let me go ahead and build content for it. The content agent then is called upon, and the content agent then first asks you a few simple questions that if you like to continue, how much tailored content do you want, right? So answer the questions. The marketer then fills out a very small, you need to communicate to teenagers, enthusiastic tone, focus on WhatsApp as a channel, and you could have done app push, you could have done anything, and then the generation of content starts. Now when this generation of content starts, an automatic brief gets created in the platform for ChatGPT in the basic sense, your own content libraries, which are the brand content libraries, and we also then use the Google Power Engine to do VO3 for video content generation, right? And for every single segment that you saw out there, it actually starts to create the content and even a caption for what the content would look like. I'll be done shortly. So these are the static content that gets created, and then there will be a video content also that gets created. I'm playing this purposely slowly because so that people get an opportunity to at least see. You can do video. This is, by the way, how the panel also looks. So this is how actually the interface looks like for marketers. Created some basic content, clog, slides, flippers, limited sale, shop now. This all gets created, and then it also does the checks for grammatical errors, spell check errors, content check, which is there. It then will send it for WhatsApp for whitelisting, which is also a typical challenge that all marketers face when you have to actually push out ads on WhatsApp. So it follows the brand color palette, the product visibility is clear, the logo is currently placed. So it is checking for brand guidelines, which are very, very essential for all of you. And then the scheduler agent comes to actually say when should these campaigns be launched to whom, what point in time, which channel first versus second, and so on and so forth. And this is the co-marketer bringing all of the highest performing sector together to say this is how your buy one get one offer launch or your campaign needs to get launched. And then the flow is executed. You can stop now. Thank you. Yeah. So this is basically what is possible today, and this is something that now has been deployed. It's in beta. It's been across BFSI, e-commerce, as well as Agent Paints as a digital migrator customer. There are lots of it happening, but how will it really bring it to life? The new pricing model, fixed, consumables, and an alpha, which means happy to tie all the fees to real business impact and what revenues you actually drive. And that's basically what we are set up to. This is a bit of the under the hood, what kind of data stack is typically brands and marketers should aspire to create today, both around the data layer, the decisioning layer, activation, which is across channels, and then the feedback loop, which gets created. And this stack is an important one for all of you to think about as you start, redefining the way you want to do your marketing. And that's it. We don't have anything else. Thank you. If this is of interest, please happy to have conversations outside. Thank you.